Morning everyone, we are Group 9. I am Lorraine Bernardo together with Kyla Lat, Matthew Punsalan, and Michi San Felipe. And today we will be presenting a research proposal entitled A Correlational Study on Playing Video Games as a Coping Mechanism to Academic Stress among College Students across different universities. To start, our presentation will tackle four different chapters. The first chapter, which includes the introduction, will tackle the following parts: the background of the study, the main phenomenons which are video games and academic stress, the recent findings of studies regarding these two with their different limitations. In addition, theories about the relationship of academic stress and video games would also be tackled with our research questions and our current study with its hypothesis that would also provide a brief explanation that justifies our prediction. The second chapter is all about our methodology, which will tackle the research design, participants, research instruments, data gathering procedure, and data analysis.
To begin with our introduction, our background of the study would generally talk about stress and video games. At some point in our life, we experience a feeling of physical and emotional tension, or what people would usually call it, stress. We tend to bring ourselves into stressful situations that may sometimes be unavoided. Such emotional tension is often experienced by college students for their handed increased responsibilities. Since those who attend college are expected to engage in different kinds of extracurricular activities by joining organizations, complete a heavy academic workload, and at the same time strive to achieve a satisfactory grade in order to become a successful member of society in the future, there is no doubt that they face challenges that result to stress. Most of us would agree that this emotional tension brings negativity in our lives. Existing studies have found that one way to manage stress effectively is through playing video games. Generally, video games are known as games played on gadgets. This type of online entertainment may be beneficial for those who are constantly under stress. This will be further discussed in the next slides. People report feeling stressed when multiple competing demands are placed on them. Stress is often triggered by events that make you feel nervous or anxious. Dealing with academics, stress has become part of students' academic life because of factors such as pressure from peers or family, amount of workload, grades, and etc. A study by Lee et al. 2018 found that when students experience academic setbacks, the stress hormone in their body increases. To formally define this emotional tension, the National Institute of Mental Health states that stress is a form of reaction to a type of challenge such as performance at work or in school, a significant life change, or a traumatic event. In reality, it is labeled as career stopper. Furthermore, one can experience stress from the environment as we interact with our body and thoughts. There are two types of stress: acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stress would be any stress that an individual suffers from for a short period of time. On the other hand, chronic stress is a type of long-term stress that typically requires professional help. Stressors of this kind negatively affect one's physical and mental health. In this study, we will be emphasizing academic stress. According to Wilkes 2008, academic stress is defined as the body's response to academic-related demands that exceed adaptive capabilities of students. Another definition by Lee and Larson 2012 states that academic stress is the interaction between internal and external environmental stressors, students' assessments, and their way of responding to it. This type of stress has been the central mental health concern in Asian countries like India. It is reported that due to academic stress, students endure behavioral problems like depression, anxiety, and the like.
Throughout the years, technology has been present and has continued to develop until the present time, which made the lives of people easier. Moreover, technology has provided ways for individuals to cope and adjust to stressful situations. One of the major contributions of technology is video games. Now, what is a video game? Owen last 2016 defined video game as an interactive digital entertainment that an individual plays via a computer, game console, a phone, or a tablet. Video games have a wide range of genres like action, sports, puzzle games, and other more. In Espolito's article, he explained numerous points on how it is based on well-known thoughts about game, play, interactivity, and narrative. Video gaming has strongly influenced media users to commence the usage of interactive digital entertainment for the purpose of leisure, satisfaction, and relaxation. Engaging in video gameplay may be beneficial to those who are constantly under stress. With all these developments in technology, Rockwell last 2002 stated how obvious these games are produced to be one of the most significant representations in culture that have influenced responses to stress. Fisherman in 2018 stated different ways on how these video games could relieve stress. He particularly said that video gameplay helps in reducing stress by switching the player's brain on autopilot mode. This mode is a cognitive process that is also considered as a meditation technique that enhances the stress management of an individual. This act enables them to carry on doing tasks quickly and accurately without conscious thought. Psychologist, specifically Sherry, last 2004, identified this as the feeling of being in the zone, also known as flow. This is the feeling of total immersion in an activity. Bionic and others last 2014 said that video games usually incorporate a series of small and achievable tasks that are ideal for attaining this flow state, which generates optimism for video game players. On this note, Shen and others last 2000 referred to this flow as obviously a positive psychological state wherein an individual experiences a desirable and congenial encounter when engaging in an activity with full concentration.
The notion that video games provide pleasing emotions were supported by Katz and Bloomer's uses and gratifications theory, which talks about why and how people actively seek out specific media to fulfill certain needs, especially in managing one's mood and enhancing one's emotional state in the form of entertainment, relaxation, or socializing. Video games, according to Fishman, provide instant gratification, which can be an immediate break for those students or workers who have demanding lives. When struggling along difficulties, a good video game gives them achievable goals that help create a feeling of accomplishment or satisfaction. With all these findings and the accompanying theory, the study on video games and stress has truly made a great impact in the field of education. However, there are a number of limitations that are also found in these findings, which gives future researchers like us an opportunity to challenge all these.
So, as the study aims to identify the role and relationship of playing video games to academic stress experienced by college students, this study specifically sought to answer the following questions. 1. Do college students experience academic stress? 2. Do video games help reduce stress? 3. What is the effect of playing video games as a coping mechanism to stress to video game players? 4. Is there a significant relationship between academic stress and video games? College students are often faced with various obstacles such as experiencing mental distress regarding anticipated academic challenges. Thakar 2018 states that the greatest academic stressors that students encounter are drifted towards tests, grades, homework, academic, and achievement expectations. The current study intends to investigate whether video game play is an effective coping mechanism to reduce academic-induced stress among college students across different universities. With regard to this, it is predicted that playing video games contribute to lowered stress levels of college students. Further studies like Rocky in 2019 have suggested that engaging in video game play affects one's mood positively in such a way that it decreases stress levels, enhances critical thinking abilities, and other skills that are constantly used every day. On the basis thereof, this study hypothesized that there is a significant relationship between playing video games and relieving stress.
Moving on to our methodology, this talks about how we conducted our study. First would be the research design. A quantitative correlational design was applied in order to identify the relationship between video game playing and academic stress experiences of college students. According to Lumen Learning, a correlational study identifies whether two variables are correlated or not. While Shaskin does not seem to consider correlational measures as inferential tests, but descriptive statistical analysis that represents the degree of measure within the association of more than one variable, including the degree of relationship specified as a bivariate measure of association. Now, onto the participants. In order to obtain favorable results, we inquired 96 college students from the different year levels and courses in different universities. Probability sampling techniques, specifically purposive sampling, was utilized to obtain the participants. The researchers looked for college students who were video gamers and non-video gamers who experience academic stress. The participants consist of individuals whose age ranged from 17 to 23 years old with a mean age of 19. It also involves 66 video gamers, which equates to 68.8% of the population, while 30 non-video gamers completed the total population with 31.3%. Next would be the research instrument we use as a tool in order to collect, measure, and analyze our data. In order to gather credible information, the survey questionnaire consists of 3 sections. The first part contains the respondent's profile. The second part provides a survey questionnaire for academic stress. And the last portion is a question to measure how much time do the respondents consumed in video game playing within a day. In measuring academic stress, Educational Stress Scale for Adolescents, or also known as ESSA, was used. This aided the respondents to meet the needs of the researchers to determine how much academic stress college students experience. The survey questionnaire was disseminated through online platforms like Facebook and Messenger. This scale contains various statements that are relevant to the feelings of stress and or satisfaction of college students. This also measures only one variable, specifically academic stress, which is in a Likert scale format that offers options from a point scale. For the study, the ratings from the said scale, which are never true, seldom true, sometimes true, often true, and almost always true, will be converted to a corresponding numerical equivalent, from never true as equals to 1 until almost always true, which is equivalent to 5. The respondents will only choose and answer one choice from the scale, which is based on how they feel towards academic stress. This standardized set of questionnaire has been an effective and a productive way for us in accumulating data for a large number of people.
Further on the procedure, this part is how we gathered the data. The data gathering lasted for 2 weeks to project an observation between the differences of video and non-video gamers on how they cope with academic stress. During the foregoing research, respondents' academic stress and video gaming frequency were measured and identified. The researchers made use of an online survey instrument in a Likert scale method to gather the required data. Afterwards, the online survey was answered by the respondents through Google Forms. Results from the online survey were automatically recorded and tallied in an Excel file. The data collected from the respondents are then studied and categorized. The researchers computed the numerical data from the collected responses to be analyzed and transformed into statistical treated data. Lastly, answers were rechecked to ensure that the data gathered is accurate, efficient, and effective to use and
Moving
support
on to the
study.
data analysis, the data was thoroughly analyzed to investigate whether the hypothesis was accepted or rejected.
The gathered data was opened in Jeffrey's Amazing Statistics program, or what we know as JASP, for statistical analysis. The variables, namely academic stress and video gaming hours, were then converted into their own scales. We then selected correlation matrix as a program in order to analyze the given data. Pearson correlation coefficient was utilized as a statistical treatment to analyze and to provide validity and the reliability of the data gathered. Correlation coefficient or Pearson R correlation is used as a technique in investigating the strength and direction of the relationship between two continuous variables. In this study, we used this to examine the significant relationship between academic stress and the video gaming hours to college students.
56 college students across different universities participated in this correlational study on playing video games as a coping mechanism to academic stress. The research instruments that were mentioned earlier were divided into two different variables, the independent variable being the frequency of playing video games and the dependent variable being academic stress. Hence, the results completed both its measures of central tendency, which showed a mean of 3.339 and a median of 3.375 for academic stress, while a mean of 2.927 and a median of 3 resulted in the average video gaming hours. Results also reported both of the variables' measures of shape, specifically its skewness and kurtosis. Academic stress showed a slightly symmetric distribution with a measure of negative 0.345 as it is close to 0, which is considered as a perfect symmetrical dataset. Video gaming hours, on the other hand, did not display such shape with a value of 0.791. They both also revealed a 0.246 standard error of skewness, which indicates a long left tail for the two variables.
Moving on to the variables kurtosis, both of them show the light tail distribution relative to a normal distribution, as academic stress indicated the kurtosis of negative 0.482 and 0.249 for video gaming hours. As per standard error of kurtosis, both have revealed a 0.488 value, which indicates that the tails of these two variables are longer than those of a normal distribution. Last but not the least would be the variables as minimum and maximum values. For academic stress, it disclosed the value of 1.813 for its minimum value and 4.563 as its maximum value. However, video gaming hours reported the value of 0.000 for its minimum value and a 12.000 as its maximum value. To further visualize the mean from the descriptive results aforementioned, we included the distribution plot to display the mean's graphical data.
Since we conducted a correlational study, we included a correlation plot to visualize the results. To reiterate, the study aims to determine whether video game playing is associated with academic stress experienced by college students across different universities. It was hypothesized that video game playing is positively correlated with academic stress. An analysis through Pearson R correlation was used to examine the gathered data. From this, the result reveals that video game playing with a Pearson R value of negative 0.139 has no relationship with such type of stress with a Pearson R value of 0. The findings suggest that individuals who spend more time playing video games are those who are most unlikely to experience feelings of being upset and difficult with regards to their academics. Thus, the average amount of hours consumed in playing video games has nothing to do with stress that students experience. Moving on to the last section of our paper, we discussed how the findings treated our alternative hypothesis. Firstly, restating the objectives of our study, the study on video game play as a coping mechanism to academic stress among college students aims to investigate whether or not playing video games relieves stress brought by university-level academics among college students in different universities.
With all these predictions, the results, however, reported otherwise. This study goes beyond Gronick and others' previous research last 2006
as this study proves how ineffective these video games are for an adolescent's changing behavioral outcomes, particularly their stress with regards to academics. With this, we can imply that when stress gets out of control, everyone prefers to do their own thing to manage and cope with the stressors that affect their lifestyle, physical, and mental health. People's emotions and the individual's preferences are evident as they use different strategies to cope with such emotional tension. For example, some would gravitate towards doing retail therapy, or simply known as shopping, exercising, spending time with family and friends, and other more. All these findings are supported by the utility theory which was mentioned in the study of Warren and others last 2010. This classic theory talks about the preferences of individuals when choosing between multiple options. This makes a prediction that the decision maker always prefers the choice with the highest subjective value. In relation to the findings of our study, the participants may not have video game playing as their most wanted strategy.
Nonetheless, we believe that the study still has existing gaps as the results show no significance in the relationship of both variables. Yet, we conclude that academic stress is often experienced by students who struggle with heavy academic workload, exams, and striving for a satisfactory grade. The researchers hypothesize that playing video games is an effective coping mechanism to relieve academic stress. However, results showed otherwise. Although playing video games may bring satisfaction and pleasure to people, it is not a credible strategy to cope with stress among college students. The results clearly displayed that academic stress has no significant relationship with the video game play frequency. With this being said, this study has potential limitations. First, the researchers did not successfully include gender in the demographic portion of the online survey. Second, the researchers did not take into account the undergraduate level and degree program of those who participated. The stress level of college students may be different for each undergraduate level and degree program. One reason is that the workload and units are inconsistent. College students may be handed a heavier workload as they level up into their senior year.
Is there not much studies relevant to the results of this research? The researchers recommend future researchers to use the current study for thorough examination to produce a new output regulated from this study. Findings from this study may not be generalized due to the small size and limited group of respondents. Hence, it is suggested to have an in-depth study with a bigger sample in order to further enhance the generality of the findings. Interviews, group discussions, and further observations are also recommended to have a more accurate result based from the answers of the respondents. Thank you for listening. It has been a pleasure presenting our study to you all. Again, we are Group 9 and have a nice day!